Okay, so you finished writing your book, and now it's time to get this thing published. But you don't really have that much money to go through the publishing process. So you need to figure out ways in which you can save money, but spend money on the things that are going to give you the highest return back. And this balance can be really hard to figure out. And that's why you're going to want to stick around for today's video. This is Chris Barrett from selfpublishingmadeeasynow.com, where self-publishing doesn't have to be so hard. So in today's video, we are going to look at cheap self-publishing, 8 cheapest ways to publish a book. And these 8 tips to minimize the cost of publishing a book involve a number of key things that you're going to want to take away from this whole thing here, okay? So the first thing you can do to save is tip 1, plan ahead. Now, this means that when you're looking at getting going with your book in the first place, trying to figure out exactly the whole course of, I'm going to use this service, and I'm going to connect it with this thing here and this thing here, so you can sort of see the entire path that you're going to be taking. This is something I do with my clients, whether in the group coaching or in the one-on-one program, where we're looking and seeing where are we at right now and what are the exact steps we need to take in order to get our book published, and in this case, doing it in an affordable way. And by doing this plan in advance, the thing is that we're able to make sure that we're not wasting money as we go. We can use the experience of self-publishers who have done a lot of self-publishing, which is what I've done over the years, lots and lots of books. And so I can see exactly that path to getting it done effectively, putting a high quality product book, and then doing it at an affordable price. And this planning really makes a huge difference. And that's one of the reasons why I try to figure out tools that are also going to save money as we go through the process. Tip number 2, proofreading. There's a number of ways to save money when it comes to proofreading. One is, of course, you could pay the full price of a major proofreader, somebody who's got hundreds of years of experience or something. I would not recommend that. Or you can do cheaper proofreaders, which would be, let's say, somebody like on Fiverr. You can find proofreaders there. Just make sure that they have top reviews for the services that they're doing and the proofreading that they do. Okay, so you're going to look for people with 1,000 5-star reviews, this sort of a thing, where they've got a lot of really positive stuff. You can also use Upwork, but I found quite a bit of success just using some of the top-rated ones on Fiverr when it comes to proofreading your book. But even if you don't want to do that, you can use free software like using Grammarly to help you with proofreading, or using Google Docs' own built-in proofreader. That can also be a helpful one, or Word. All of these different services are LibreOffice Writer, I believe it's called Writer. Anyway, they all have all sorts of different programs, and one of the strategies I like to do is running it through many of the different ones, and then you can also run it through someone at Fiverr as well, and then we know that we're going to end up with something that has a high quality thing. But if we're on a budget, then maybe just using the tools and reading it through yourself, or trading with another author, letting them read your book and proofread it, and then you proofread their book. Or swapping other services where if they're really good at proofreading and you're really good at cover design, you see. So you can barter with other people, and that gives you the ability, even though it will cost you time, at least you'll be able to do it in an affordable way that's not going to cost you too much in the long run, okay? The tip number 3, formatting. This one is a huge one. This is one that I hammer on all the time. And I tell you, the best way to go about formatting is to learn how to format yourself. It takes a bit more time, but it's definitely worth the effort of learning how to format your book. And the way that you're going to do it, of course, is by finding the tool that works best for you. Now, I believe the easiest and best tool that removes all of the extra garbage that's in there, making sure your book gets accepted the first time, that's Jutoh. That's one of the reasons why you can find it below my affiliate link for Jutoh in the description. You can also find a link to my formatting course, a book formatting course for self-publishers, which is a very powerful way of getting through this formatting process, where we'll make sure that you're able to get your book formatted. For everyone I've gone back and forth with, 100% have managed to get their books formatted. Some people just give up. The technology itself can be a little bit challenging, but for everyone I go back and forth with, 100% getting their books formatted. And this is actually a way to save money. And the reason being is because once you learn the skill, you pay this one-time fee for Jutoh, for example, and then from this point on, you own the tool. So you can just do as many books as you want. You'll get better and better each time you go through. And when we find mistakes, which you will find on your books, because that proofreading step we had in tip 2 is going to have issues. And what's going to happen is you're going to find mistakes, and you're going to want to fix those mistakes, reformat the book just by changing it and pumping it. Like with Jutoh, you can just click a button. It'll re-put the book out for you, and then we're ready to go again. Does that make sense? so that the book that is ready to be uploaded to the market, as opposed to the person you hire on Fiverr to do the formatting made some mistakes and then now they're gone. Now who's going to make the changes that you need to do the formatting? And so this is a really big issue that you do need to pay attention to, and you can save a lot of money if you learn to format yourself. Tip number 4. Outsource the cover design to freelancers. This one's a really powerful one because you should not do the cover. You can do it cheap yourself on Canva or one of these other platforms, but the fact is you're not going to be able to do as well as an actual graphic designer. So if you don't have that as a background, then you're definitely going to want to consider just simply having a professional do it. Now, there's a cover designer that I particularly like on Fiverr. You can find her link below in the description, my affiliate link for her. She's done almost all of my covers, hundreds of covers, and they are really amazing, high quality covers. She does it for around $25, and she's a top ranked cover designer. So I would definitely go with her if you're looking for a cheap way of doing the cover. You can also go for hundreds of dollars using 99 Designs. That's another one I've recommended in the past, but it costs you $100, $200 if you want to get a cover that way. And so that may not be the way you want to get your cover done. Does that make sense? Then tip number 5. Use print-on-demand services. Now, this one's a little bit obvious for most of my audience, but keep in mind, there are people who are just getting started, don't even understand. A lot of people have this idea that I'm going to create these books, and then I'm going to order 1,000 of them, and they're going to come in my garage, and then I'm going to sell them so fast it will be amazing. Well, it doesn't exactly work like that. When you first get started, it's really hard. Building the audience takes a lot of time and effort. Okay, so when you're getting started, it means that you're going to not want to order 1,000 copies of your book, because then you're going to end up giving those away for Christmas presents and stuff, and people may not really wish to have them at this point. Okay, instead, you're going to use a print-on-demand service like Kindle, Amazon, KDP, Print, for example, or Lulu, or Ingram Spark, or any of these other services that also offer similar types of things, so that you can get your book printed when people place an order. So there's no need to have 1,000 copies, and when you're done with your first book, you just work on your next book, you see? And it doesn't cost you anything, so there's no additional fees to have it print on demand. And this is by far the best way to go. You simply set it up, all of the things are set, so when they place the order, they literally can just run it right through the entire thing, where they just literally can just print out the book through their printing press, they put it in the mail, they do everything for you. You literally don't have to do a thing. They just send you the money, and you get it paid usually 3 months later, okay? Tip number 6. Crowdfund your publishing efforts. And that means going to one of the crowdfunding platforms that you can find. There's multiples of these platforms available, and then you're building an audience. You sort of need an audience already if somebody's going to if you're going to crowdfund a new book. So if you've already got a social media following, or you're a celebrity or an influencer, micro-influencer, then we're going to want to take that audience that we have and say, hey, I'm so excited with this book, and here's where you can help support. And in exchange, I'm going to give you some special early editions. I'm going to let you see the book in advance. I'm going to let you get assigned copies. There's all sorts of stuff you can do to reward people for giving money on the GoFundMe or any of these other type of programs, where they'll be able to pay money in advance. But in order to do this, you're almost always going to need to already have an audience for this tip number 6. So tip number 7, self-publish the book to minimize the cost. Now, I know I mentioned in the beginning the whole thing was self-publishing, but some of you may still have the idea in your mind that traditional publishing is a cheap way to go. Well, it might be, but you see, the problem is that you have to keep in mind you're going to need an agent. You're going to need to do a lot deeper level of editing on the entire book. You're going to need a research to make sure the market is even there. If whoever you're going to send the money to, one of the big 6 publishing houses, if they're even going to accept a book like yours, you're going to need to modify it. Then we're going to keep on paying money to our agent to make sure that it's put in front of as many eyes as possible year after year. And we're giving up royalties we would have made if we just self-published the book. So that's why the self-publishing route is by far the cheapest way to go. Even though you do have to pay with the services up front, at least we can pay them and then start making our money back, as opposed to trying the traditional route, which has a whole bunch of expenses, and then not making any money at all and hoping and praying that they actually will choose you in your book. It's just a very losing strategy for most authors. If you are going that route, then give yourself a deadline. 1 year, for example, and then at that point you can decide, okay, that was enough time. At this point, I'm now going to self-publish, okay? And so some people have this idea, they have these grand visions of how things are going to turn out, and somebody always wins the lottery. I'm just going to tell you that happens. But nobody I've ever personally met has just like magically got accepted in their book selling millions of copies. It just doesn't seem to happen with traditional publishing. And if you looked at my last video, I was exactly discussing this idea of all of these major authors you recognize, but they were all self-published authors. And it's amazing. You may not have realized it, but they saw the problems with trying to get traditionally published. So they built up a following by self-publishing, and then were able to go from there. Tip number 8. Marketing. And marketing is one of my favorite of all of the tips. I find it the most fun and engaging. It really challenges you in many levels. And there's 2 types of marketing we're looking at. The first one is you should be doing Kindle, KDP ads. You're going to use Amazon ads is what you're going to be doing. You're going to be shooting ads against your ebooks, and you're going to have a separate ad campaign that's going against your paperback books. So we separate those 2, and then we use a whole bunch of strategies I share with people in my group coaching and my one-on-one program, telling you exactly how to set these ads up, taking you step by step through that process in order to make sure you can see it. And the reason why you might be thinking, well, marketing, paid ads, how's that going to save me money? And the answer is it's going to get a lot of your books to sell in comparison if you didn't have those ads, because unless you're a celebrity, how are you driving traffic to your books in the first place? And ads is a great way to do it on a budget, assuming you're not spending too much money on that particular route, because there's a lot of tricks to making sure that it spends money if it's making you money and stops spending money if it's not. Okay, hope that's pretty clear on that one. The other one is that you can use content marketing. That's an even cheaper way of doing it, and that's one of the reasons why below in the description you'll see my content marketing course, where I go exactly step by step how to use content marketing using blogs, using podcasts, using YouTube videos, and now also talking you through in terms of using a lot of the other social media, like you're using Twitter and Pinterest, Instagram, and TikTok. So using and Facebook, all of these 6 different platforms that we also are using in order to get our message out to as many, as large of an audience as possible, to ensure that our books are discoverable, and then we're able to bring those audiences in order to start getting our books to sell. And that's a way you can save money, is if you go with the content marketing strategy. I recommend you go both strategies. Usually we start with the paid ads. You just join the group coaching and I will show you exactly how to set those up. Or you can just get the course on the content marketing. You don't even need a sign up for anything else. You can just do it for that, and I answer all the questions related to the course content itself, just to make sure that you're 100% clear and you can start getting success in terms of getting your books to sell. You're building up a following, and the following is really what this game is about. As we build up that following, then we're able to leverage our following of all of our loyal subscribers, followers, viewers, whatever it might be, in order to get those people to purchase our book, tell other people about our book, to help us edit our book, to proofread our book, and also to do beta reading of our book and reviews for our books. And so building up this audience is one of the most important things you can do. How do you do that? You do it through content marketing. The more content you create, the more discoverable you are on Google, and the more traffic they continue to send you. More and more traffic. As you move forward in time, you'll see that you'll be making great progress in this whole entire endeavor, and it is a lot of fun. So something you're definitely going to want to consider doing. So in conclusion, you can see that there are 8 tips that I hit here, going through each and every aspect of how you can save money and publish your book on a budget, but not so cheap. You obviously could do it for free, but then there would be no sales, and then you made no money. And that's why I would not recommend doing it that route. That's one of the reasons why you need to follow each of these steps as closely as possible, and then we can see what happens at that point. And we continue to learn. And one of the questions I have for you today is, what have you done to keep costs low when publishing your books? I want to know below in the comments area, and I reply to 100% of all the comments. And check up above me here for more video answers to your self-publishing questions. Thanks.